Today, we are going to discuss the defense appropriations bill that was just passed through Congress. We're going to also talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment and why it's getting help from some notable Democrats. And we're also going to talk about some bombs that are going in Gaza. So no surprise on that last one. But let's jump into it because I feel like that these are the top headlines that really bring us into the minds of the people who are creating all of the decisions that essentially happen with our federal dollars, right? Because we pay a tremendous amount of money in federal tax, and that number, for some reason, seems to only keep growing. So let's talk about how we're spending it, because on July 17th, we have Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a Republican out of Georgia. She introduced an amendment to H.R. 4016. Now, 4016 is the Department of Defense's Appropriations Act, which is going to allocate money for our defense budget in 2026. And so that passes through the Congress. It passes through Congress. Now, the amendment that Marjorie Taylor Greene proposed was to eliminate $500 million in funding for the Israeli Cooperative Program, which essentially, and specifically, let's go back. Specifically, this program supports Israel's missile defense systems. So this would be the Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow, which they use to intercept short-range rockets and mortars and ballistics and other missiles. So she said in her amendment, let's stop funding this. $500 million. Let's stop funding. First of all, let's just stop funding foreign governments, right? But specifically, she's pointing out Israel. And her big argument is that Israel, as she described as being a nuclear armed power, is capable of funding its own defense, which 100% agree with, and that the U.S. aid, which is currently at $3.8 billion, so it'd be reduced to $3.3 billion. Crazy, right? That's still an absurd amount of money. So she wants to take it from 3.8 down to 3.3, and don't forget, we gave them $8.7 billion in April of 2024, right? We just gave them $8.7 extra billion dollars. And so what her beliefs, her agenda in this is basically pointing out that, look, our national debt's already at $37 trillion. You know, we need to take care of our own debt before we can keep just giving money out to these people. And what's even crazier about all of this, and we'll dive into this for a second here, but we'll get into it, is that this happened on the same day that Israel bombed that Catholic church. I believe it was called the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza. Happened same day. And she even acknowledges that that entire population is being completely wiped out. And honestly, I think at some point we got to stop calling it the Gaza war and just realize that call it what it is they're absolutely these people. And until we get leaders who are going to call it out, because Hamas does not have $4 billion funding it. Like no one's getting funded that amount of money. And so I think it's just silly. And they're basically rounding these kids up and these families up that are trying to get food and aid, and they're just gunning them down in cold. I mean, the evidence is all over the place. And before we jump into that whole conundrum, we need to zero in on this bill, or this amendment, the amendment to this bill. Because the House rejected Greene's amendment by a count of 422 to 6, which means there are only 6 people in our government who think that we should stop, or at least reduce. It's not even stopping. It's reduce our military aid to a country that's arguably committing a genocide. And I'm going to read off those names for you here, because I think it's very important for us to be aware that 422 people in the House of Representatives believe that we should continuously fund these wars, that it's completely okay to fund it. Now, the 6 representatives are Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky. We have a Democrat, Al Green from Texas. We have Democrat Summer Lee from Pittsburgh, who represents the city of Pittsburgh. So she's from Pennsylvania, but she represents Pittsburgh. Ilya Omar, Democrat, Minnesota. Rashida Tlaib, also Democrat from Michigan. And there was one other named member, but notably, we have Alexandria Cortez breaking away, AOC breaking away from her squad people, which I think is a very interesting thing. And if I had to make a guess, she's out there talking about running for president. Do you think AIPAC would be happy about that? Do you think Israel would be happy if she were to vote against this? And so everybody else, including AOC, voted continue funding because everybody in America is completely okay. And I think that's the thing that's sickening enough to me, is that we act as though the American people, the American citizens, are living as kings and queens in this world, as if we have gold roads everywhere without any potholes, and our infrastructure is working in perfection, right? We have perfect infrastructure. It's not all crumbling. Nowhere. That's not happening. We don't have a bridge in, where is it, Baltimore, that still needs to be rebuilt. No. Our infrastructure is perfect. We have healthcare. We have free education. We have non-chemical food. Everybody is living like a king and queen. None of it's being poisoned. For us to sit here and to continue funding, forget about Israel for a second, the country that's committing a put them to the side for a second. Think about all the other countries that we are funding and giving money to, and we're not even taking care of our own people. That, to me, is the biggest slap in the face for every single American in America, in the face of America. We are getting slapped in the face right and left. And it's crazy. I mean, to me, it's crazy. I find it crazy, and you know, it's crazy. But what's even crazier, and this goes back to my point about AIPAC, is that they came out and praised the defeat of the bill. Of course they did. They called it reckless for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be pulling out of this. We need the $500 million. You guys don't need it. What are you guys going to do with $500 million? Take care of your people? Please. You don't need it for that. They even said, and this is, to me, the cherry on top of it, AIPAC even came out and said, quote, saves, speaking in regards to the missile defense cooperation, they said, quote, saves countless lives and enhances U.S. capabilities, end quote. I'm sorry, but what U.S. capabilities does it enhance? What benefit do the American people get from this? And Representative Thomas Massie, who voted against this, was on Theo Vaughn recently, and he even said that the only argument that AIPAC ever gives our politicians for why we should give money to foreign countries is because it comes back to us through the military contractors, the defense contractors. That's the main reason that we should be giving money to foreign countries. And I sit here and I look at this and I'm like, wait, what? How about we just directly spend it on our people? I mean, that's better. Again, I don't think government does a good job with spending money. Clearly, if we're $37 trillion in debt, excuse me. But there's no bigger evidence of this than the fact that they just don't care. We have a homeless population that is increasing by the day. We have veterans who can't get proper health care themselves. We have our police departments getting stripped of all of their resources. Nobody wants to become a police officer anymore. It's no longer regarded as an honorary, an honorary position as it used to be, because we need people to defend us. We need law. We need order. And all we're getting in return is chaos. Look at Gaza. Look at what they've done to the people of Palestine. 50,000 civilians have been 50,000. And that's only what they've counted. They haven't counted all the bodies that have been buried under the rubble, because Lord only knows how many are there. They've displaced millions. People are starving to death. And now they're rounding them up like cattle just to shoot them whenever they try to come get food. And I think that it's sad. It's a lot more than just sad, let's be honest. But I would say that the one good thing that has come out of Marjorie Taylor Greene proposing this amendment is that it shows us where people's hearts truly lie. They don't care about us. They don't care about the American people. We're no longer being represented in Congress. They serve, well, for one, they serve AIPAC more than they serve the American people. Evidence is right there. And they're banking on you not caring. They'll slow it down maybe a year before the election happens, and then they'll start saying how we need to put America first, which is true. Like, on face value, we need to put America first. You're representing the American people. You put the American people first. But why is nobody doing that? Why is it that every single time we turn around, the majority of our Congress, the people that we have elected, do not sit there and truly say or even think about the fact that they're only serving their pocketbooks? They're not preserving our culture. They're not preserving any culture. They're destroying all of it across the entire world. And to me, it's sad. It's very sad. And the only way that we're going to be able to get this through is for us to come together. To realize we need the American Congress Party to become a unified force for good in this world. Because we have to come together. We have to realize that just because we're white or we're black, just because we might be Christian or Muslim or Jewish, doesn't matter. We need to realize that we're one family. The sooner we do that, the sooner we will all be living like kings and queens. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. Imagine if we had an entire society built on the fabric of wanting to help each other, wanting to pick people up when they've been pushed down. Saying, yeah, we need to stop funding foreign wars. There's no reason that military contractors should be getting $800 billion a year. Well, I guess that's our entire defense budget, but the amount of money that we give to foreign countries, Ukraine, Israel, that just gets funneled into military contractors is absurd. It's absurd. And then they waste all the money. They have to shoot off all their ammunition at the end of the year, or they have to fly planes around burning jet fuel just so they can get their money the next year. It's a completely broken system. It's completely broken. And speaking about us all being one people and kind of being combined, this touches on the Christian church that was bombed in Israel. It's crazy to me. Sorry, well, specifically Catholic, I guess. The Catholic Church. Is that it seems like that got people to pay attention. It's like, oh shit, the Catholic Church. We have to protect all the Catholic churches. And to me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, guys, like, where was the outrage before? Because Palestinians tend to be Muslim. That's why you didn't care before. But then now, because they have the same, like, because they speak a certain way, or maybe they pray in a certain way or the same way as you, now we should care. And to me, it's like, good. Okay, cool. Trump is allegedly yelling at Benjamin Netanyahu. We don't know if that's true or not, but allegedly. For this, like, okay, that's in theory good, but like the underlying thing is how is it that it takes us not seeing the humanity in everyone. It takes us needing to have like that connected piece. Like, where is that disconnection coming from? Have we all been so brainwashed that we can't see just because we're human doesn't mean we're the same? Or we can't see that we should care about them? I mean, and call me an old-fashioned hippie for it, but like, even whenever it comes to spiders in my backyard, how can you not see that that's a divine being doing what it needs to do to survive or to live or to thrive? And you can inspect it and learn from it. I mean, gosh, the knowledge you can pick out of nature is insane. If you just watch a spider, the patience of it, to sit there and wait. Nobody in the 21st century has that type of patience. Or if you watch ants, their ability to just keep on going and going. The point I'm trying to get at here is that we can learn from every divine creature on this planet. And yet it takes some sort of like, well, they're Catholic, so now we should get mad at Israel. And to me, I find that just insane. I mean, I get it, but I hate that. I kind of hate that I get it, because it shows that as a species, we need to overcome these physical differences. We need to realize in our heart of hearts that we generally all agree that there's unless you're an atheist, but maybe that's beside the point. We can all basically join up on the atheists. But seriously, if there's anyone who has any form of religion or spirituality, or they're into nature, we all know that there is a unifying force that connects all of us. Pretty much every single religion agrees upon that. Every single person who's spiritual agrees upon that. How you define it maybe is a little bit different. The way you pray to it maybe is a little bit different. The way you worship it maybe is a little bit different. And yet we all just slap God right on top of it and say, yeah, my God's different than your God. Could you imagine, right? We're supposed to all be the children of God. And could you imagine God, let's assume that it is like an outside force. I believe that it's an internal force that permeates every single atom in the cosmos. But let's take a second and assume it's the traditional way of like, an old man sitting in a chair looking down, and we all agree that there's a God, and we all agree that we're the children of that God. Could you imagine how like unfortunate it would be to look at all your kids fighting and the way that they're fighting? It's like, yo, you guys are all my kids. We're brothers and sisters. Yeah, could be your husband, that could be your wife, that could be your friend, your son, your daughter. And I think if you're able to detach yourself whenever you see some videos and just think in that lens moving forward. Is this my mom? Is this my dad? Is this my brother, my sister, my cousin, aunt, uncle, whatever it is? Try to take a step back the next time you're watching a video, anything. Notice how your psychology changes. Notice how your internal wiring will change. It'll flicker a little bit so that you appreciate it more. You realize the beauty of these people. You realize the divine spark that exists with everyone. And so maybe, it's again that catch-22 of like, okay, great. A Catholic church was blown up such that we can now have the American president say something about it and be like, hey, yeah, this was wrong, and to get mad at Bibi. But like, where was it before? Why is it that if they have darker skin, or they like, to me, it's such a deep-seated confusion that I see permeating everybody. I mean, I don't know. It blows my mind. How could we all be so blind to it? It's right in front of us. And it makes so much sense. It doesn't even just make sense, but it feels like common sense. It feels like, hey, look, we should take care of our brothers and sisters. We should take care of our moms and dads. And think about how powerful we would become. Which, and hey, look, now again, I think we need to be really careful when we talk about Israelis versus because I think they're all different. There's definitely overlap, but essentially they're all different. But I think one of the beautiful things that tend to do, again, this is like the double-edged sword, but one of the beautiful things that they do is that they come together. It's really beautiful how actually bring themselves together and they treat themselves as a family. They even if they're not directly, even though I guess that's how you become Jewish, but the point I'm trying to make is that they try to keep it in house. And, I've had a roommate, and, the way that I kind of see it is I've seen it through movies and whatnot. Entourage is popping up in my mind where Ari's talking about, do one for the home team, do one for the, like, keep it in house. And I think at some level, because there's a lot going around about how they run Hollywood, they run the media, they run all these super powerful industries, right? And I think that can be because they take care of their own. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. Just we need to take it to the next step, though. We need to crank that up a little bit more and realize that just because of a religion or ethnicity, we don't need to keep it in house. Like, what if we expanded that out to everybody? What if we sat here and said, well, just like, we should take care of everybody to the best of our ability. Why are we putting up certain artificial lines? And of course, there's a limit to that. There's a limit to how many people you can help and serve based on, your position, how much money you have, where you're at in life, all of that. Of course, I'm not doubting that for a second. But my point, though, is like, if someone needs help and you're able to give it, why not just give it? And the craziest thing, though, is the more that I have done that in my life, the more I have felt at peace, the more I have felt in love with just being human. It's felt like some of the most human stuff in the entire world. And so when we bring it back to, and honestly, my editor, I don't know how much you're going to have to bleep out of this. I hope this isn't going to get flagged, but there's going to be a lot of bleeps probably going through there. But we need to take it to that next level. Again, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great mentality that have whenever it comes to this idea of like, do one for us, keep it with us. The double-edged sword of it is that we need to take that to the next level. We need to say, okay, we're all human beings. We're all struggling in some way. How can we support each other? How can we take care of each other? And our American government, when asked that question, is, well, give them billions of dollars to kill people. It'll come back to us in military spending. So that's how the money's going to come back to us. But why in the world is that the way that we want to make our money? Why is it that military spending is how we want to have money coming back into our economy? I mean, if the money is going to be coming back anyhow, shouldn't we pick a better option for it to come back into? Should we not use it as a tool of investment into our own people, into American citizens? Should we not invest in our infrastructure, in our people? Because I look at even the architecture nowadays is abysmal. You have to look for stuff that's built before like the 1900s to find anything that's beautiful. Everything else is just ugly. Let's be honest here. Some houses, yeah, but I'm talking about downtown. We're talking like anything that gets built nowadays is just for the money. There's no humanity in it. Humanity is being stripped out of everything. It's been stripped out of our money. It's being stripped out of our architecture. It's being stripped out of talking to other nations. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that more people who hear this, who watch this, who share this, will come to see that truth. They'll come to see the truth that we are all connected, that we're one family, that we need to treat each other with love and I don't want to make this sound like some sort of kumbaya stuff, because it doesn't. There's obviously still like a ton of underlying responsibility you have within this. You have to take care of yourself first, but you got to realize, like, once you have this like mental framework of being able to take care of yourself, you then want to like take care of more people. It's really bizarre. Like I don't know how much you guys know. I mean, I haven't really talked too much about this lately, but whenever I was living in San Diego, I had a cushy job. I was a software engineer at General Atomics, military contractor. And I had a house, 30-second walk from 2 beaches. Everything was perfect. Literally, people would walk by, see my house, talk to me, get to know me, and be like, dude, your life is perfect. I don't know what you're doing, but everything is perfect. Like where you're living, your job, blah, blah, blah. And it was crazy to me because I never felt it. I never felt like I had it all. I felt like there was something missing. And I'm telling you, that thing that is missing is helping other people. Once you get to a place in life where you can take care of yourself, the next step is to start taking care of and helping other people. The problem is, though, you've heard me say it a million times, but the problem is, though, is that our food's poisoned, our water's poisoned, we can't think straight, we can't articulate our words, we can't exercise, we don't have any intelligence, there's no wisdom, we're all in debt, we're afraid of money. And all of that, it just becomes this binding pressure on our soul where we don't know how to expand back out and start chipping away at the rocks of the pressure that is getting pressed down upon us. And for that, you should be listening to my Indigo Education podcast, because that will help you come out of those rocks. That will help you push upwards, become a greater version of yourself. And if you become a greater version of yourself, your family becomes a greater version of itself. If your family becomes a greater version, your neighborhood improves. If your neighborhood improves, your city improves. If your city improves, your state improves. If your state improves, your nation improves. And if your nation improves, the entire world improves. It's so subtle. But the implications, the ripple that occurs whenever one does it is extraordinary. And it starts with you. It all starts with you. So let's see. Let's see what you can do. Let's see how you can improve your life. And whenever you improve your life and you get to a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel safe, where you feel secure, start helping other people when you can, if you can. And who knows, maybe that place will lead you to the American Congress Party. Maybe that place will lead you to government, where we're able to make the most change in this entire world. Because America's a powerhouse, but its light is flickering. America's standing on the world stage is getting sucked out from underneath us, quite literally, in terms of money, in terms of respect. Nobody appreciates anything America's done, especially not in the Middle East. We've completely destroyed, toppled regime after toppling regime, killing millions of people, spending trillions of dollars. I think we spent $20 trillion on regime change in the last, 50 years. And what is it my mom always told me? Something along the lines of, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. Make sure make sure your life's in order before you criticize others. Something like that. I think it was that. We're going to go with that. Make sure your life is in order before you criticize others. Make sure your ducks are in a row before you go out and try to change other people's ducks. And even think about this on a individual scale, right? Think about this yourself. If your life's not in order, you don't have the authority to go and tell other people how to live their life. So America as a whole, we do not have our life in order. America as a country does not have its life in order. So therefore, we have no authority to go and tell any country how it should be running its being, its entity. We have no authority to tell them how to run their government. We have homeless people dying on the streets. We have an opioid epidemic. We're $37 trillion in debt. Just here, take a step back. Again, imagine it's a person. Don't even think of it as a country. Imagine it's like a person. You have a person who's addicted to opioids. Let's say we'll reduce it because no one's going to be $37 trillion in debt specifically, but let's say he's $37,000 in debt. That's still not really enough. We'll say $3.7 million in debt. Let's say he's $3.7 million in debt. He's an opioid addict. He only has one friend. Everyone in a specific area completely hates him. All of his systems are failing. All of his livers are failing. His heart's failing. What gives that individual the right to go and tell someone else who's minding their own business how to live? Absolutely none. And what's sickening is that the heart of the American people is what's about to get treaded on next, is what's about to get eroded next. And it's disgusting. I hate it. I don't like it for one bit. But it seems to me that the way our politicians are anchored, the way they act, the way they present themselves is all a way to keep suffocating the heart. So let's come out of it. Become powerful. Join the American Congress Party. I know you want to. It can be as simple as just changing your voter registration to American Congress Party. You can also reach out. You can DM American Congress Party at American Congress Party on Instagram. We'll reply. You can follow, share videos, share this podcast, share these videos. Like it's the simplest things, guys, but it creates massive ripples that will echo throughout the halls of eternity. And if you think I'm joking, well, we're going to have a discussion about it whenever I see you in the 6th dimension.